Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to help you make the most of your summer with Michelob Ultra, a superior light beer worth playing for. Play for it with the guys when you're competing to see who can sink more birdies on the golf course, because winning tastes even better with Ultra on the line. Play for Ultra. Fill your fridge with Michelob Ultra this summer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for this day.
He just happened to come out and stand, and he was just smoking right next to me. And I said, "Are all these cigarette butts yours?" And he said, "Yes." And that's when I asked him if he could use a coffee can or get a cigarette or an ashtray.
And his response?
His response to me was, "Well, I was going to talk to you. I can hear you walking above me, and I can hear your cat."
This is the plaintiff, Jessie Ray. She says she's in a big-time feud with her downstairs neighbor regarding her garden planting, and it's gotten so bad it's war. She innocently pulled out what looked like weeds from the front yard, and unbeknownst to her, they were her neighbor's flower bulbs. In retaliation, the defendant went to her planted boxwoods and ripped them out of the ground. She hired a landscaper to repair the damage, and the disruptive defendant owes her the $1,550 it's going to cost her to fix her yard. So that's exactly what she's suing for today. This is the defendant, Mahmoud El-Sakawi. He says the plaintiff started the fight by ripping out his wife's flower bulbs, which of course made her very upset. He had every right to do the same thing to her, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of thing. Besides, she's suing him for $1,550 for a few small bushes? Preposterous. He's accused of being the root of the problem.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Jessie Ray?
Yes.
You are suing Mahmoud El-Sakawi and Eva El-Sakawi?
Yes.
All right. For $1,550 to repair landscaping
Yes.
that you say he deliberately ripped out in retaliation. Tell me what's going on.
I have been living at the same residence for 23 years. In June of 2012, I decided to invest my own money in landscaping in the front of my unit and to the side for
Okay,
both.
and you live on the second story?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and so you're talking about in the front of your unit, but it's really actually in front of another unit, but it's communal ground. It belongs to the whole co-op, right?
It does belong to the co-op, yes.
Okay, and then?
And then approximately on June 8th, one morning I was just doing some basic weeding. I had pulled 3 what I thought was wild onions. They were just large green spikes.
Shoots, right.
And I thought they were wild onions. When I pulled them, I noticed that there was a bulb at the end, and I looked at it and thought it was a wild onion. And that's when my neighbor came out screaming that I had pulled their flower bulbs.
He did?
The wife did.
The wife
originally.
did, okay.
She came out, she was yelling at me. I said, "I'm sorry, I thought they were wild onions. No, you did this on purpose, you did this on purpose."
Had you had bad blood with them before that?
There have been some situations, yes.
What were the situations there had been?
It actually started in January of 2013. I was upset because this couple had just moved in, and he was using the landscaping as his personal ashtray.
Okay.
So he was smoking, but he was just throwing the cigarette butts in the landscaping. And my first words with him was, I asked him whether or not he could get a coffee can or something and use it as his ashtray, because I kept picking up all these cigarette butts And he just happened to come out and stand, and he was just smoking right next to me. And I said, "Are all these cigarette butts yours?" And he said, "Yes." And that's when I asked him if he could use a coffee can or get a cigarette or an ashtray.
And his response?
His response to me was, "Well, I was going to talk to you. I can hear you walking above me, and I can hear your cats." So, and then I contacted the management office to see if they could enforce him using an ashtray or not using the landscaping as his ashtray.
Okay.
So.
And did they get involved?
They did get involved. They asked him to, I guess, use some kind of ashtray. Then he was using a water bottle, which he zip-tied right outside my door. So every day I walked in and out my door, instead of looking at my landscaping, I now looked at his water bottle full of cigarette butts.
What do you mean zip-tied?
A little tie, like a little zip tie that you would.
Oh. And
like
he put it
a
where?
Plastic, and he just tied it right, like on a wrought iron railing right in front of my door.
On his balcony?
Yeah, they consider that not really his balcony. So management contacted him and asked him to move it to the other side of his balcony where it actually was his balcony.
Right.
He has to walk by my door to get to his balcony.
Okay, so
I
go
have
on.
pictures that would give an idea.
Yeah, let me see the pictures.
Do you want the pictures of the
I want all
him
the pictures.
removing the
So
landscaping?
what happens? It brings us to court here today. You pull out what you think are wild onions, but they're not. She
No.
runs out and says, "Where's your wife?"
With a baby.
She's not here. Okay.
So Mr. Al-Sakawi came out. He was infuriated because his wife was upset. He comes out and he says something like, "If you're going to pull out things, I'm going to pull out things." So he goes to where there's a set of 4 boxwood plants that were planted right in front of his balcony, and he starts pulling them out and ripping them out. While he's ripping them out, he destroyed the whole landscaping bed. There's plastic liners that were put down, all that's being disrupted. He rips out the 4 plants, he throws them off to the side. I called the police came. They didn't do anything. They weren't very happy that they were called. And basically, I just left them there because I was going to go to the management to have them work through it because I didn't want to deal with it directly. I felt
Right.
it was better to have a third party do it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the end result was it was never addressed, which brings me to the reason why I'm here today.
Okay. What's going on?
Since I moved was like 8 months ago, my baby just 1 week old. She's not happy. Nobody living downstairs at all for her. She's like she happy with like she living by herself all this many time or wherever.
How long was your place empty?
Like she living with a single lady downstairs,
Oh, okay.
so it doesn't have no problem with her. Like she doesn't live there.
So you move in and you feel like there's a problem from the beginning.
Yes, from the beginning. Like she wake up my baby before she walking with a high heels. She start like screaming
with the what?
High heels.
High heels.
The high heels. I'm sorry, I have accent.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
All I need to do is understand you. That's
Okay.
it.
So she's like walking like at 11:30, 12 o'clock p.m.
At night?
At night with a high heels for like 2 hours, and she's not allowed to have.
That sounds so uncomfortable.
And she's not allowed to.
What are the odds?
She's not allowed to have a laundry, or she doesn't, and washer. All the complex not allowed. She have one, and she hide it from the complex. So I got complaint about like I hear it 2 o'clock p.m. So, wake up everybody, wake up the baby.
2 a.m.
Yes, she
Not
wash
PM.
her clothes
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
Okay.
She wash her clothes. She's like she have a drink. Like I can hear everything. Like she have to have a carpet. 80% carpet. Like she live upstairs. She doesn't have it. So I hear everything.
Do you have a carpet?
I have for 23 years, yes.
Go on.
About the ashtray, cigarettes, whatever she talking about, I put bottles. I would use it as an ashtray.
Why don't you just use an ashtray?
Like I wanna just.
Why don't you just use an ashtray and stop throwing your butts in the landscaping?
I don't do it. Just please let me finish. I'm just so I am just like tied the bottle in the something next to my balcony.
Right.
I threw with have a water in it. It doesn't bother the smell or anything.
Except for that the management made you move it, right?
Yes.
Because you put it right by her door.
And
right?
he talked to me very nice.
I mean, it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. Do you know who they are? They're like warring. It's like warring factions. Okay, that it's like, how do you live like this? This can't be pleasant. Did you rip out her plants?
I did.
What happened? What made you do that?
Okay, it was I see like I plant this flower was like 2 months. I water it. I do everything. I buy it to one to make it next to my balcony.
Wait, slow down. You planted flowers?
Yes, next
2
to my.
2 months earlier.
Yes. So I started ground this flower here.
Okay, can I see it?
Please. And she say it's a weed. You can notice it's a real flower.
Do you have pictures of it before she pulled it out?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a weed. All right. So you planted these, and this is where.
This is the same plant in the front, and this is in the back.
Okay, so these aren't the ones she pulled out.
The ones she pulled out, she have already flowers. She growing more in this.
You say they already have flowers.
Yes.
And
so I ask her what you do. I see her, she come for dumpster with a box and she's dump that stuff in the dumpster. So I try ask her nicely, what's your problem?
I'm sure it was really nice.
Yeah. So I try ask her, she ignore me, and she's like, honest mistake. It's like that.
She said honest mistake.
Yes.
Okay.
So I got like pissed off, and I got nervous. So I see I have like the tree front of me directly. So if this is bother you,
say it again.
Is her tree, whatever that.
The bushes.
The bushes.
Okay.
I say, okay, if this is bother you, this is bother me too. So I. Okay. So
you ripped up the bushes.
I ripped up, but I ripped up is like I keep everything with the stand, with everything is I don't kill it. I'm just to move it to front like 1 feet in the front, and I leave it there. She leave it there for 1 month.
Tell me about that. So he comes out and he says, "You ripped out my bulbs. You don't like my bulbs. I don't like your boxwoods." And then he starts to take out the boxwoods. And what does he do with them?
He just starts throwing them in the front of the landscaping.
As these pictures show.
Welcome back to the People's Court, RV11 here. So, why do people get so crazy when it comes to community gardens?
People are really territorial.
So you just think you're in my space?
Yep, I mean, there's little lots and whatnot, so I can see that people just don't want anybody else in their area.
Gonna go away in the back.
It's jealousy. They want
Classic case.
Jealousy.
So plant envy.
Yes.
Interesting. What do you think?
I think that people are competitive, so people want to be better than everyone else, so they try to compete against even gardens, for instance.
You know what? I actually think that's the point. I actually agree with you. Going inside the courtroom.
Okay, so what he does is he moves them forward, and
he rips them out.
Is this how they looked?
Yes, that's
so the root balls are still there.
Yes.
Okay, and then what happens?
They were out there because I wasn't going to replant them because I felt he was just going to rip them out again.
Did you pull out these?
May I see that?
Yeah. I mean, these are photographed at a different spot, but that's what you say was in there.
No, this is the same one in the copy, but in the front, like I have in the front of the door and the back of the door.
Got it. Okay.
This is on the other side of the building.
Yes, it's on the other side of the building. That's what he said.
They were not grown to this height.
No, he planted wild onions in the back. Because he planted them in the front and the back, and that's what they look like. And they don't look like. See, here's the thing. You've been there 20 years and you think you own the joint. You don't. You own your joint. It's not your special. You want land? Go buy land. You're in a co-op. It belongs to everybody. Kumbaya. That's the situation you find yourself in. So I have this sense that, you're living there a long time. Everything is going hunky-dory. Then he moves in, and all of a sudden it's not. And all of a sudden you see new stuff that you didn't put there, and boom, 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 they all start coming out. They don't look like weeds. They look like bulbs that have been planted by somebody, and you don't have a right to do that. And then what happens? Eye for an eye. The problem is you thought management or the police would do something, and they didn't. I see the root ball in those plants. I see him placing it in the front. I guess you could have planted them back or planted them in a pot or done something else. You didn't do that because you thought it might be fruitless because he'd go back out there again and rip them out again. I get it. I understand that. So what's the true measure of damages? And that's what I'm struggling with, because I suppose that the math would be something like this. The value of the plant, taking into account that you didn't save them, minus the value of the bulb. Oh my gosh!
I'm just witnessing something.
Not gonna do it. Because here's the problem. I don't think you accidentally pulled it out. I think you did it on purpose because you were angry at them. And I don't condone either of your behavior in pulling them out. The irony, though, is neither one of you own that land. Both of you own that land. So I try to imagine, would I entertain a case where two roommates were mad at each other because one wanted this kind of plant and the other one wanted the other kind of plant? And would I actually find that one of them has a cause of action against the other one? And I'm not going to do it. I do not find in favor of the plaintiff. Sadly, I do not find in favor of the defendant either. This is a case where no one's a winner.
no real winners in this case on either side. You agree with that?
No.
What's your feeling about it?
I feel that he destroyed and ripped up the shrubs in anger, and he should have to pay to replace them.
Judge also said that she thought you might have done the same thing.
I did not.
All right. Okay, head right down this way, okay. All right, sir, so she doesn't win her case, but do you feel like you won?
No, I don't feel I'm not happy at all. But I fix this anyway. I'm go Home Depot. I do some different planet. I clean this area. I love it. I love to live in a nice place, you know. And I wish she'd change. Like we live in together. Like if she have a problem and you need me one day, I be there. Even if that's what I'm grateful for.
Okay. Harvey?
You know, the fact is that both of them acted so badly that there were two ways of handling this case. You could have awarded each of them damages, but to me, it makes more sense what the judge did, which is to just throw it out. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
This is the plaintiff, Julius. He says the defendant, his ex-girlfriend, falsely accused him of violating an order of protection. Criminal charges were brought up on him, and he ended up losing his job over it. Once he showed the cops his phone records, the charges were dropped, but the damage was done to his good name. He's suing for $3,000 for 8 weeks' lost wages. This is the defendant, Morgan. She says the plaintiff got into a real tither when she got a new boyfriend and began harassing her mercilessly by phone. She told him to stop, but things got worse, so she filed an order of protection against him. Well, he started texting her disgusting and derogatory things, showed up at her job, and everything that happened to him is 100% his fault. Oh, and for losing his job? No way. She's accused of not letting go.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says his ex-girlfriend framed him by claiming falsely that he violated a stay-away order, says he lost his job as a result. But the defendant says he was insanely jealous when she got a new boyfriend and went nuts. It's the case of love. Ain't it a bitch?
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Julius, you've asked us not to mention your last name. You are suing your former girlfriend. Okay, you want to just be referred to as Morgan? All right. Julius, you're suing Morgan for $3,000, the statutory maximum in your state. According to you, you're out actually more than that for lost wages because you were fired as a result of what you say were malicious lies on her part. Tell me what occurred.
Well, in April, the defendant's grandmother was in the hospital. We hadn't spoken for a while before that.
How long had you dated?
About a year, okay? We hadn't spoken for about 2 months prior to that. So I found out the grandmother was sick. I reached out to her. We spoke, we had a phone conversation. I actually went to visit her in the hospital while the grandmother was there.
You went to visit who, the grandmother or her?
The defendant.
Okay.
3 days later, I called her in the morning to see if everything was still okay. The grandmother was on life support. So I was checking up. The new boyfriend answered the phone, and me and him started to argue. And he's telling me everything he was going to do to me, things of that nature. He also told me he was going to have her get an order of restraint so I couldn't call her while he wasn't around. So that came through in the mail. I went to court.
What came through in the mail?
The temporary order of restraint came through in the mail, so I had to show up in court. I signed off as a voluntary order of restraint. I gave it to her.
Never a good idea.
It worked out fine, I thought.
Until you got arrested?
Until
yeah, okay, so it didn't work out so well.
I got
okay,
more
so
charges. I got more charges in the mail stating that I violated that order of restraint by calling the new boyfriend's phone, which I never had a phone
Calling
number.
the new boyfriend's phone?
Yes, over 400 times, stating our sexual history, that she has AIDS, and I used to fondle her child.
Those charges were received in the mail?
Yes, they were. They were in my mailbox.
Why don't they send up a smoke signal? How do they not? I mean, if those are the charges, why don't they arrest you?
Well, when I went to court for it, they brought me downstairs and processed me.
Okay.
So I would, so stemming from that, I got a letter from the Department of Health that got sent to my job stating I was arrested for these new charges.
What kind of job did you have?
I was a activities director at a rehab center in Rockland County.
What kind of rehab?
It was for like assisted living, stuff like that. People with
physical rehab?
Physical rehab, yes.
What did they do with you?
They fired me.
They fired you. Okay. And so the criminal case, what happened to that?
That was dismissed.
And why was it dismissed?
They said they reached out to the defendant, also the boyfriend. Nobody returned phone calls. Nobody showed up in court.
Let me see.
And I have the phone records also, like, to show that I wasn't.
Did you call the boyfriend?
No, and the funny thing is, there's no.
The boyfriend and the boyfriend's brother,
Yes,
right?
yes.
The allegation against you is that you called over 400 times the boyfriend and the boyfriend's brother and said all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, it tells you in this, it gives you the statement that I just gave you, the charges, and it's showing that she was the one that talked to the police officer and gave the complaint from the boyfriend in California.
But she can't file a complaint on behalf of somebody else.
Well, that's what they.
What is
charged
it that
me with.
happened here? What's going on?
Okay, so like he said, we didn't have contact for a while. It wasn't until I actually got a new boyfriend, it was put on social media that I had a boyfriend, that he started contacting me again.
Proving once again that living your lives as publicly as
So then
you
all of a
all live
sudden
them.
now I started getting contact from the plaintiff. My grandmother was sick. Somehow he found out that she was sick, contacted me. I did not want to be contacted. I didn't want him to visit. I didn't want to be bothered.
What was the cause of the breakup?
Just regular nonsense. I just didn't want to be bothered anymore. We had just moved on from each other. Like he said, it had been a year. We broke up, got back together, broke up. So it was just...
It was over for you?
It was over for me.
But it was not over for him?
Apparently not.
Okay, so go on.
So he was still trying to text me and call, and I said, can you please stop calling and texting me? He's like, I don't,
Do you have any of those texts?
I changed my phone number for that same purpose, so I don't have them. But what happened was my boyfriend answered the phone and said, dude, stop texting her and calling her. Like, she does not want to speak to you. So they start to argue with each other. So he
And I
was
imagine
still,
that only made it worse.
Only made it worse. So
Because now it's quien es más macho.
Right. So his attempts got more aggressive. So my boyfriend said, I think you should go ahead and get an order of protection because it doesn't seem like he's going to leave you alone. So in the meantime, there's still contact between my boyfriend's brother, because what happened was he called from his brother's phone. Well, he didn't have, his phone was dead or something.
Well, I don't know who you're referring to when you say he, because there's three
My
guys.
boyfriend.
Your boyfriend did what?
He called from his brother's phone and said, stop contacting her. She's going to get an order of protection, leave her alone. So
Okay.
I guess he assumed that was my boyfriend's phone number. So in the interim, I guess he thought it was fun or entertaining or whatever to still contact and say these derogatory things about me.
And what did he say?
That I have sexually transmitted diseases, that he touched my son, very
What did he say
extreme
about
things.
exactly about your? You don't believe that happened, by the way.
No, I don't.
And what did he say? How old's your son?
My son is 8 now.
And what was the exact phrase that he said?
I have it in a text message.
Let me see all the text messages.
So who has more trouble dealing with a breakup? Men or... I didn't even ask yet.
Women.
Why do you say?
They're emotional. It takes them a long time to get over things.
What do you think?
I don't know. Women just take things personally. They're emotional beings.
And men just... Right. What do you think?
Women, fear of abandonment.
Oh, are you with any of the... Okay, you got a problem tonight, boo. Anyway, going inside the court.
These are text messages that you obtained from where?
From my boyfriend's brother's phone. Because
How did you obtain them?
He emailed them to me. He snapshotted it with his phone number at the top and emailed them to me. And I also have the police report associated with the messages.
I need you to write down on a piece of paper the phone number for your boyfriend and the phone number for your boyfriend's brother. Look, the brother says, look, I don't know what your issue is, but stop texting me. To which the purported response from you is, why would stop texting you, her boo is my boo too? Answer, you are sick. And then the purported response is, I can't even read that out loud. We kissed at the hospital. She was with your brother, her lying blank mother know that.
I also have my lab report that states I don't have any sexual transmitted diseases and I never had.
All kinds of really explicit stuff about where you and he do it, where you did it. Now, according to you, you never texted any of this stuff, right?
No, I never did, and that's why I brought my phone records in. See, at the same time I'm going through this, her son's father's going through the same thing with her, where she's saying that he was harassing her, and I have those records here also, that she was filing against the son's father. There's an app called Spoof.
Okay, hold on. Before you get to that, you have what in your hand?
These are records from the son's father.
Saying?
That the same thing was going on with him.
What is the same thing? There's many things
here. He was
here.
texting her over 200 times and things of that nature. But
I'll just get confused. Hold on. It's a lot of paperwork here. Okay. What's the meaning of this?
Later on, after this whole thing passed, I was getting messages from my son's father.
And did you file a restraining order against him?
I did.
And was it given to you?
Yes.
And does he now not see the child?
He wasn't for a while.
It's the exact same problem, 16 phone calls. I suppose it could happen twice. Now, according to you, you did not place these phone calls, and what you think happened is that somebody used an app.
I know that's what happened.
How do you know?
Because I checked into it. Her son's father had a private investigator, and he found that it was Spoof. And if you check at
tell me about Spoof.
Spoof is where I can take your phone number, type it into my phone, text somebody or call somebody. It'll show up as your phone number. It's coming in on their phone. But if you look at my phone records, there's nothing there.
You guarantee to me that I'm not going to find those two numbers.
I guarantee you. I guarantee you.
I need your phone records. Here they are. I have them. I have a copy. Dude, the number's all over here.
What number?
It's all over here. The brother. It's all over here. The brother's texting.
400 times, 200 times?
If it's once, it's too much.
Is the first one coming?
God, I so wanted to finally find an honest man just once in my life. I was so with you. I was so with you. I listened to his story. I said, who would go through the trouble of bringing me 100 pages of phone records unless he was positive the number was not going to be? You have broken my heart. The number's all over here.
I've never called this dude.
Well, then how is this dude's number all over here? She doesn't know what's in your phone records. She writes down this number.
That's the same way when on her records it's showing.
And your answer to me is 400 times? It's impossible. Because I'm now on 12. I've now circled the 12th time that you've texted them.
Okay.
What am I supposed to do with this? I honestly thought. Go ahead. Yeah, I want to hear.
Did he text me first? Is it going back and forth? I mean, I'm asking, is it just me harassing him?
Wait, is it just you harassing? Well, how many times did you?
Going out,
I don't know. Why don't you tell me how many times did you text him and how many times did he text you? Why don't we start to get real here?
It can't be.
Just tell me. You tell me because you were there. How many times did you text him? How many times did he text you?
It can't be more than 15 texts on there, man.
Did you text him 15 times?
We had dialogue back and forth.
Did you text him 15 times?
Yes.
The guy you looked at me and said under oath a minute ago, you don't know his number, they spoofed you, you are now admitting that you texted him 15 times. Who's the woman with you?
This is a friend of mine.
Who's the one who thinks it's funny? Are you his new girlfriend?
No, it's a friend.
They look that way outside to a few people. Let me just tell you something, honey. Run. Don't walk. Run to the nearest exit. Verdict for the defendant.
All right. The plaintiff has a chance to come out here and possibly explain a little bit more on why the number for the boyfriend showed up so often in the phone records that you handed over to the judge.
It wasn't often. It may have been 15 times we had dialogue, but that's completely, honestly.
I think you had testified to the judge that you didn't even have the number.
No, like I said, he texted me first. We might have went back and forth. That was it. But if you want to dig deeper into it, you see there was nothing there.
Mm-hmm. And you want to comment at all on what you heard from the judge there?
I don't have nothing to say.
Okay. All right, is this the end of the line now between you and her?
It's been the end of the line.
All right.
It's been.
All right, okay. Right down around the corner this way. All right, come on in here. Well, that was an interesting turn of events there at the end of that case.
Yes.
You knew that was coming?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, the proof was right there on the paper.
Were you worried when he turned over his phone records to the judge and said that number was not going to be in there?
No, I was not worried because his number is all over my brother's boyfriend's phone. So, I mean, the number's there, and he's a liar.
All right, do you think you've heard the end of him?
I hope so. So hopefully he can move on with whatever he's doing now.
Okay. Harvey?
You know, the advantage of getting an order of protection is that you don't have to go through a long trial. If you can simply prove that the person violates the order, they can end up being held in contempt and they go to jail. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
Finish training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
This is the plaintiff, Stephen. He says he's a business consultant, and he was hired by the defendant to advise him on the sale of his business and on other business-related activities. He sent the man an invoice. The louse simply refuses to pay it. He's tired of being pushed around and is suing for the $5,000 he's owed. This is the defendant, Hal. He says he asked the plaintiff a question about selling one of his pawn shops. And instead of a one-word answer, the guy launched into a 1-hour, one-sided conversation. The plaintiff seems very intelligent, but also very lonely, so he let him go on and on and on. Next thing he knows, the guy sends him a bill, which shocked him because he was never told he was going to be billed for the phone call. Now the guy wants $5,000. Ha! He's accused of not paying for services rendered.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff is a business consultant, gave the defendant a lot of advice and got stiffed. But the defendant says he simply asked the plaintiff a question and the plaintiff went on and on and on and then charged him. It's the case of ain't nobody's business.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Stephen, you and your company are suing Hal, you and your company. Neither one of you want your company's name nor your last name's name.
You can mention my website.
Hal and Stephen, you are suing his pawn shop for $5,000 in fees that you believe he owes you, $250 for an hourly rate, and the rest for punitive damages for not paying you. You are the owner of a business consulting firm, correct?
Correct.
All right, tell me exactly what you do.
For more than 30 years, my company has provided business consulting services. Initially, it was a business and tax consulting firm in New York City, and I left New York and got involved in the internet.
Okay, so how did you meet the defendant?
I had provided some very useful services to his dad 5 years ago.
In the pawn business as well?
In the pawn business as well.
Okay, and more or less, what did you do for him? Marketing?
It was marketing and website development and marketing.
Okay.
And
so he then met you that way and hired you to do what for him?
His father called me up and recommended his son with trepidation.
Recommended his son with trepidation recommended to you his son with trepidation?
Yes. He said, my son needs your services. He's going to be difficult to deal with. He's impossible to deal with regarding money, and you should be aware of that before you take the assignment.
Okay. And so he hired you to do what?
He hired me last January to do two things, of which I completed one, and we didn't proceed with the second. The first one was to develop his website, which was satisfactorily completed to his satisfaction. And he paid a small excess fee for the extraordinary amount of extra time he demanded.
How much did he pay you entirely?
Roughly $3,000.
Okay. All right. And then what occurs that brings you to court now?
In September, he called me to advise him on how to deal with his father was selling his shop.
His father was selling his own shop?
Yes.
Okay.
And he wanted to know how to handle the website and all of the page one rankings on Google. Can he get extra money out of it? Can he redirect the traffic to his existing website? What would be the best way to do this to maximize the value of the sale?
I don't understand. What did you call him and ask him about?
I wanted him to build a website for me.
No, that's done. What did you call him later in September and ask him about?
It took place I have the phone records. It took place at the end of August, and basically it was a one-word question, and he had emailed me.
What was the question?
The question was, when my father sells the store, that he does not have rights to it. If he still has
What do you mean he does not have rights?
Well, when you sell a business, a lot of times.
Yeah, okay.
The
If he sells a store, what?
It was at 9 p.m, and Steve had emailed me and been corresponding with me over the last few months. He sent me an article from the New York Times 4 days earlier. So I felt comfortable. Hey, Steve, you just sent me an email. I called him up. I said, Steve, if my dad can keep his website, can we make use of it? And it was a yes or no answer. Well,
if my dad can keep his website.
Correct.
After he sells it to sells not the website, but the business to another guy.
I found out the next morning that the website was part of the sale. So I called him up. Then I told him, I said, Steve, don't even think about it. My dad can't use the website, so it's no longer an issue.
Well, what did he answer you that night when you called him?
The word was yes, but if you know Steve, there's never a yes. It's usually a long, drawn-out conversation.
So what did he say?
He said, yes, you can use it, but, we actually talked about the pawn business. He asked me some things about the pawn business. So it was a conversation. We had a good relationship.
You didn't expect to be billed?
Of course not.
Was there another phone call that you had with him as well?
Yes.
And when was that?
That took place on September 17th.
Okay.
And that was that my partner in one of my pawn shops was dealing with the Yellow Pages about a domain name, and Steve and I both agreed that dealing with the Yellow Pages when it comes to internet is probably a mistake. You have no choice but for them with print because they're the only ones out there, or Yellow Book. But when it comes to internet, so I actually told my partner, you know what, let me call Steve and see if maybe he'd want to do something because I think we're going to get a much better bang for our buck. So I called him up. I actually emailed him. He asked me, I told him there's some contract that they emailed me. He says, well, why don't you email me the contract, which I did. And
why would you not, though? Okay, but the guy has to eat, and he has always charged you before, and you charge an hourly rate, right?
No.
No, okay.
The website was a flat rate. The phone calls were an hourly rate.
Had you ever discussed an hourly rate with him?
I discussed the fact that he would be billed. I would also like to...
Did you discuss what he would be billed?
I told him I would send him a bill for $125. Also, the content...
In which conversation? Because there's two, right?
Each of two conversations.
In each of them, you told him, by the way, I'm going to charge you $125 for the information I just gave you, or I'm going to give you.
After the first phone call, I told him I was sending him an invoice for my time. At the beginning of the second phone call, I told him, I'm hanging up the phone since the first bill wasn't paid. He said, don't worry, send me a bill, I will pay it. And the fact is I sent him a bill, and then when I called him and said I haven't received payment, he said I was just joking.
I have a question. You had not agreed on a price before the phone call. It's after the phone call, you told him, I'm going to charge you X for this phone call. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And by the way, Your Honor,
I'd like to know if what was in your head when you called a guy twice for advice on something, and you wanted to, or you expect it to be a freebie. Aren't you worried about making that clear with each other?
I consider it a business development call. I was calling Steve to see if we could do business again.
No, you had a specific question for him. I mean, that's not, hey, let's come and talk because I want to hire you for something. That's a business development call. When you call a guy and say, this is my problem, I need an answer, what do you think I should do? You're asking him his advice.
Yeah, but I asked him a yes or no question.
Well, that's still his advice.
Okay.
I mean, if I ask my lawyer a yes or no question, you know how I call my lawyer? When I call my lawyer, if I have a lawyer for a specific issue and I call my lawyer and he goes, how are the kids? I gotta listen, no unnecessary chit chat, you're on a clock. Because I know it's gonna be unnecessary chit chat. You know, when you call somebody for professional advice, why would you think it's free?
So, this defendant had used this plaintiff in the past. So you call somebody up and you ask him what you think is going to be a quick question. can they automatically charge you if their business is giving this kind of advice? What do you think?
I guess technically so. I don't think that's right, though.
Why?
If there's a previous friendship in business.
No, it wasn't a friendship. It was a business relationship.
I guess technically so. I personally wouldn't do that, though.
You personally would starve to death because you wouldn't make a living. What do you think? What do you think?
I say it's intellectual property. I say it costs money. Because you got to.
Okay, I kind of get that.
Business is business.
If you ask a quick question and then they have a long, drawn-out answer, can they charge you for the long, drawn-out answer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you could cut them off.
Business.
Got your point? Going inside the courtroom.
First of all, if it's not going to be free, I'd like to be told how before we continue.
Okay, and I would like for you guys to, before you talk to each other, have a price per hour and have a signed contract so that I don't have to go through this. But life isn't perfect.
But you know
so
what?
now what I have to resort to is figuring out what an appropriate expectation was. When you guys don't have an agreement in writing beforehand, it doesn't mean that you get to pick his brain for free. It means that you folks have very unwisely left it to me to decide what somebody's time
Your
is
Honor.
worth. Now, what is it you want to show me?
To correct the mistake.
And what you're not suing for $250, you're suing for $5,000 because the rest of it you're suing for punitive damages. And
Yes.
why is that?
The first time that I did for a flat fee his website, the amount of time it took me was so, and I told him I was
Tough for you. If you underbid it, you
I
underbid
underbid
it.
it.
That doesn't mean that because you're angry with him later, you get to charge more. That wouldn't be why you get punitive damages. All right, guys, here's how we're going to resolve it. First of all, this is not a punitive damages case. This is a case where you're angry. Your anger does not make a punitive damages case. This is simple breach of contract, and it's really what we call in the law a quantum merit case because you don't have a contract. You don't have a specific contract. So what we have is a professional who has charged you always for his services. He has never given you his services for free. And then we have another professional who would like to see what he can get without having to pay for it and says, well, it was business development. Oh, yeah. And that's fine. That is how you're a businessman. I get it. But now that it's in front of me, I just have to call it. And I don't call this business development. I call this, you have two specific questions. You asked him the two specific answers because you wanted the specific answers from him because you didn't have the answers. And you cannot expect that you're not going to get charged for that. So I am going to order you to pay $200 for the plaintiff's services. Verdict for the plaintiff, $200.
So the judge rules that was not business development, that was billable time. What's your reaction to this?
I guess I have a difference of opinion with the judge.
Mm-hmm. I guess so. Well, why don't you specify these things in advance and know what you're being charged for, ask what you're being charged for, and how much?
Well, the whole point of it was that he did not ask. He did not say he was billing me, and that's why I was upset when I got billed without being told so.
You're thinking like, aha, I can talk to him as long as I want?
No, I was
money.
thinking that we have a relationship that if anybody calls anybody, like even if I call my attorney and I talk to him, if he says, Hal, I have to bill you for this, he's going to tell me that. In this case, it didn't happen.
You still want to work with him?
Probably not, but who knows? You never know what the future will bring.
You never know in the pawn business. Okay, head right down this way. Here with Officer McIntosh. All right, so this is not a punitive damages case. You come out with $200 after suing for a lot more. Are you going to work with this dude anymore?
No.
Harvey?
You know, when the contract isn't perfect, but one party performs a valuable service, the judge can award the reasonable value of the services rendered.